What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Griever back here, your guys' host as always, bringing you guys the latest behind-the-bar reviews for Akatsuki no Yona, chapter 179. Now, I do need to apologize, of course, this review is late, of course, the wife is still here, it's vacation time. Thankfully, One Piece of stuff and Shonen Jump is on break this week, so there shouldn't be any other delayed review videos by the time our vacation is over. That being said, I did read the chapter last night, and 179 took a bit of a different direction than I thought, and already I'm seeing a little bit of conflicting in the characters. I don't really understand what Yona is doing here. I really don't, because here at the beginning of the chapter, we see, just right off the bat, we jump away, and it's Ogi. It's Ogi and Lily and all that stuff, right? Tetra and them, they're there, right? So Ogi's back, and he's talking, he's basically exposition dumping on us, right? Here's what multiple information brokers have been paid, like, it's just a catch up to speed sort of a thing for Lily. But the main thing to take away from this conversation is that plenty of information brokers are being paid to say that everything was the Sen province. The murder of King Il, because remember, the rumors have been spreading, and have been believed now by more and more of the populace that it wasn't Hawk and Yona. It was Suwon and the Sky Tribe murdered him, kicked Yona out of the castle sort of idea. Hawk is actually a good guy. And of course with Hawk and his exploits on the battlefield, the Fire Tribe protecting them, Lily protecting them, like there's a lot, and even the Earth Tribe, though they haven't had many dealings with the Earth Tribe so far. The General, of course, here featured in my latest volume I believe 13, volume 13 of Yona the Done. Gwen Tai, is that, once again, the names in the Viz translations change from these, the scanlations, so sometimes and I'm already bad at pronunciation as it is, but he actually has no ill will towards the Thunder Beast. He doesn't, of course he doesn't believe it. And as Hawk pointed out way back when, he goes, if Judo or Gentai, if they believed that I had actually killed the king, they would be after me with a ravenous, blood-red bloodlust in their eyes, right? But they're not, because they know the truth. So, unfortunately here, they're spinning this, of course it's the advisor, it's Kye-sook. He's spinning all this with his little thing, is that, suffice to say, Sen province, all they're doing. Kidnapping of Yona, the assassination of King Il, it's all them. Now, automatically, if Yona knew this, this is the problem. Yona should have known. It didn't even take 5 minutes. She hasn't even gotten comfortable yet. She hasn't even returned to Hyrule Castle yet and talked to Suwon yet, and he's already making all these decisions, and she's going along with it. And this is not the character that has been built up for almost 180 chapters. This is not the scared little 15-year-old princess we knew at the beginning in the first couple of volumes. This is the strong, battle-hardened one who took out a bandit leader, who went on the cliffs to collect the flowers, who straight up, smacked a bitch, who stood up to Kye-sook when he ordered him killed, who went through imprisonment, who went through all that stuff, right? This is not that scared little girl, so I don't understand this. I really don't get this. Her decision to do this in the first place can be considered a little bit of conniving on Kye-sook's part, but her attitude in this chapter as well is really starting to irritate me. I thought we'd see more resistance from Hawk, but Hawk might be just biding his time and stuff. Suffice to say, the information brokers are being paid to do this, and Lily and Ogi are both kind of worried about this situation. Now, after that, we jump over to clearly before they left, or during their ride or whatever, towards Hyrule Castle, on their last encampment before they reach the actual capital. Yona is being done up like the princess that she used to be. They're being done up like the princess. And she's basically asking, why am I being dressed up like this? And Kye-sook is not, this is the problem. Kye-sook is actually not hiding what his goals are. What his intentions, I mean, maybe he's got even further down intentions, but every time somebody asks a question, Kye-sook seems to be relatively honest about it, even if it's to use for the populace. He even said, well, they don't know your face, and we are here for the glorious return of our people against the Sen province and the rescuing of Princess Yona. So you're back, we're making that seem like a thing. Basically, he's being upfront that they are not going to come and admit wrongdoing or anything like that. They've admitted that. Why Yona has agreed to that, knowing all this, is ridiculous. Or agreeing to be dressed up like a princess once again. when she's not going to sit on the throne. Like, this doesn't make sense. I'm just not a fan of Yona's character and going along with this. And each moment in the chapter that she goes along with makes me more and more bitter. Unless this is all some plan that we didn't see, and in like 20 chapters we'll see that they actually had another meeting or something about this and be like, this is our chance to infiltrate sort of idea, and they'll use this as an opportunity maybe. That's why Yona's playing along. That's why Hawk seems to be playing along. That's why the dragons are doing this. It just, there's not enough voice of conflict. There's not enough voice against this idea, against this plan. So I'm thinking that something else might be happening in the background. We don't know about it. Maybe a little bit of Full Metal Alchemist, Death Note levels of plans upon a plan in the background sort of idea, right? I'm just, it's a bit of hope, because right now I'm not a fan of what's going down here. Because she's being dressed up and stuff, and then she's presented, right? She's presented to everyone, the returning of the Sky Tribe and the returning of Princess Yona. And they showcase all this, and she's going through, she's on the carriage, she's standing tall, she's looking regal like the princess, and everyone's like, red hair, King Hiryu, there, she's back, oh, praise, cheers, 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 right? And Yona knows what this is doing. The advisor isn't happy, but he's using this to his benefit, of course. The dragons and stuff and Hawk are kept in another carriage hidden, because even the crowd knows, oh, I hear she has the 4 dragons of legend with her and all that stuff. Where are they? And stuff. And Yona even points out in the carriage is that if you guys are out here, like this would be like the Fire Tribe situation all over again, maybe even worse, because we're returning the princess, no one's going to believe the rumors. It's an effective tactic by kye-sook to squash the ever-growing rumors of the truth that happened, to squash them by presenting Yona as though they've rescued her. It works heavily in their favor. Now, Hawk is sitting here contemplating and wondering, what does Su-won think of this? After jae-ha asked, like, we haven't actually seen the king, we haven't talked to the king in a long time, what is his opinion on this? All these decisions were made by kye-sook, and we see the conflict of that later in the chapter, but here we see Hawk even wondering, like, what are you thinking? What do you think these cheers are for? What is on your mind? Like, usually, Hawk is almost one of the best attuned people to what Su-won is thinking, at the very least. He doesn't want to admit it, but he's very good at understanding who Su-won is as a character, who he is as a person. He was blindsided by a few things, and that's shaken him, of course, to his core, but he still probably has a better insight to Su-won's mind than most other people in the series. So, that being said, after this, of course, everybody arrives at the castle, and here's the big thing, the 4 dragons arrive, and when we get into that, this is kind of interesting, because I always love when we have just a look of contemplation from Zeno, because you can read so much into Zeno and his, like, when he looks serious and he looks at the moon, or he looks at Yona, or he looks at Su-won, or he remembers King Hiryu, or he talks about, like, back in the day. I feel like Zeno has more purpose. There's things that he's not saying or not telling Yona or anybody. There's especially that scene in the hot springs where Zeno and Yona were talking, and he says, like, I wonder sort of idea. Like, he seems to be almost a little bitter about it or something. Like, there's something going on. There's something important, and especially the way he looked at Su-won. Remember, now, he knew that Yona was born or whatever. There is a theory out there that Su-won is actually the reincarnation of King Hiryu, though Zeno has continuously said, and I wouldn't take Zeno for a liar, Zeno has continuously said that you're the reincarnation. So, because remember, you've been, like, Yona was born at this time and stuff like that, and there our light has been born, and just all these different things, right? All these different situations and stuff, and just the way that Zeno reacted the first time to seeing Su-won for the first time, he seemed to, there's something there. So there's more to the story, and every time we get something like this. So the dragons arrive, of course, they're all out of the carriage, and it looks pretty incredible, right? They're all sitting there and they're talking about how it elevates their body feels light, it feels warm and stuff. Now Zeno hasn't been here probably in 1,000, maybe 2,000 years, but either way, it's a very interesting reaction by everyone, and Yona even asks, are your wounds like healing automatically? He goes, no, it's not like that, it's just an elevation, an enlightenment, just a feel of ease at Hyrule Castle. So being in the enemy territory, as Kija says, is they should be more on guard, but they feel so at peace. So there is that, and then we move on to the rest of the chapter. Now here's where we kind of get into the meat and potatoes, I guess I'd like to say, about this chapter, where we start to see a bit of the issue that I have, and I think a lot of fans are going to have, is with the dialogue doesn't match the actions of these characters right now. It just doesn't seem to be, there should be more, there's no resistance here. The dialogue says there's resistance, but by action there is none. Not even for a second. They pause. It's like pressing pause on a movie and then continuing the movie. There's no actual resistance. You're not rewinding. You're not trying to redo the scene. You're not trying to do a new cut. You're just going to pause it and then resume anyways. You're just delaying stuff that's already happened. That's the way I feel that this chapter has been going with the actions of the characters, because they all arrive, as I said, the dragons are there. And then, of course, they all mean to go see Su-won right away, right? That's the big thing that is supposed to happen in this chapter. But what actually ends up happening is, of course, Hawk is barred. We knew something was going to come on this. They're not going to allow Su-won and Hawk to meet face-to-face without at least 1,000 guards around, right? So they block, and kye-sook basically says, nope, you can't enter because, it's Hawk, right? No explanation needed, but they explain anyways. Yona gets upset right away. And I'm like, good Yona. Good girl. Let's do this, right? Like, do not accept just because you decided to do this stupid alliance in the first place doesn't mean you need to nod and bow to every goddamn decision they make. It's an alliance, not subjugation, right? You aren't a follower. You're a leader. Act like one, So I didn't like that. She basically says this is an unbalanced alliance sort of idea, and then basically she backs down right away. Now the dragons come to the defense, like jae-ha and Kye basically said, like, yeah, no, if Hawk's not allowed to enter, as jae-ha points out, he goes, we are all equally, like, we're all on Yona's side. We're all pissed off. And there's nothing stopping us from running just as wild as he does, So they're basically like, where's the reasoning for us? And he goes, no, the dragons must come. And Kye says, like, after jae-ha says his bit, Kye says, if Hawk can't go, we're not going either. The advisor says the dragons must come. That's the end of it. All of a sudden they agree. They agree to go. It's fine. It's fine. Like, no. That is not good. That is not within the characters of the dragons. The dragons would refuse this. Nobody likes this alliance. And I guarantee you that the very least, jae-ha, Kye, and Hawk do not agree with this alliance. And we know Hawk doesn't. But I believe jae-ha also doesn't agree. And this, they're consistent, their dialogue, but then their actions are like, yeah, fine. And then, as though, this is what I don't understand. So Yona agrees to stay behind with the Thunder Beast, and they make a comedic moment out of it, right? And then they accept, like, that solves the problem. Their whole reasoning was, no, if Hawk can't go, we're not going. Literally, that was what they said. And then, 2 seconds, one word from Yona saying, well, I'll stay with the Thunder Beast, and that should solve the problem, right? Wait, no, because Hawk still can't go. And your whole thing was, if the Hawk can't go with you, none of us are going. We're all staying together as a group. Either we go as a group, or we don't go at all. That was their thing. And they back down the moment Yona, for some reason, agrees to stay behind. How is that fair? No, if Su-won wants to see the dragons, he's got to face Hawk too. That should be non-negotiable. If you want to see Yona, he shouldn't allow Yona in the same room with Su-won. He is the bodyguard. He's the real deal. Like, the fact that he would let Yona leave his sight in the middle of enemy territory after just getting her back from the bullshit, this is not within Hawk's character. Hawk should be raising a goddamn thunderstorm worthy of his goddamn name as Thunder Beast, and the dragons should be in the same boat. I don't get this. The characters are once again, I have to believe that they're swallowing their pride or something, or biting their tongue, because this is part of Yona's plan. We saw Yona at this point. Because remember, we didn't see after the hug at the end of the last chapter, we didn't see any conversation happen after that. So it would be very interesting. Clearly they must have told Yona and the dragons and stuff. They must have had a discussion. So maybe there's a plan. I have to believe that there's a plan, because the characters are being too uncharacteristic. They're giving the dialogue just enough to fool the advisor, it feels like. But not enough, like maybe the whole plan is let the dragons meet Sun-won. Let them see what their actions will be. See what Sun-won thinks of this alliance. What are the conditions? Let Yona be a figurehead for a couple of days, and we'll figure out our position and what's best for us to do after the fact. That could be their whole plan. Like a gathering intel. Go to the heart of the enemy's den. Could be a thing. I have to believe it because this doesn't make any sense. And Hawk giving up too easily. Like allowing, this is the tribe that betrayed them, remember. It wasn't the Fire Tribe. Well, I mean, the Fire Tribe betrayed, but that was a different thing. But the ones who were involved were the Sky Tribe. And the Sky Tribe people that live in Hyrule Castle. That's who is here. Now, there is something I didn't bring up before because I don't think it's relevant yet, but Advisor Kye-sook was not part of the castle, was not born in Hyrule Castle, was not a part of it, he was not a man of high standing, but he did follow. We all kind of garnered this, but it's just confirmed that he actually followed Sun-won's father and wanted him to become kingship. Of course, Yuan did not become king, was apparently murdered by King Il. Where is that coming from? Don't know the whole story yet. Suffice it to say, Sun-won's on the throne, and that's the next best thing according to Kye-sook. Now, after this point, we see that after they leave them behind, here comes the second bout that I have an issue with. Is that now Yona is tired and not allowed. Like, she's of course thinking of all the things like Sun-won, last time I saw you in the castle, you were murdering my father in front of my eyes and ordering to kill me, pretty much. All this stuff, like her worst memories, her nightmare is right here in this castle. So it's something very interesting. She's very pale. Of course, she's tired and stuff. The dragons recognize this, but the advisor is the one who says, yeah, you can't meet with the dragons will go meet, like, by themselves. So they're playing separation games, and no one seems to recognize this. And they are too cautious for this, especially people like Hawk and jae-ha. They would not allow this if this wasn't part of some plan that they've had together. Maybe they're leaving Yona out of it. Maybe this is a plan that Hawk came up with, like jae-ha and maybe Zeno or someone, just to keep them in the loop. Like maybe people like Kye and Shin'a and Yona, maybe they don't need to know. But like, somebody in this group has a plan. A couple of the members, if not all the members, have a plan for this. Because too much uncharacteristic developments going on. Because then they agree, oh yeah, it's fine, Yona, go to your room. And she does, basically, once again, the dialogue says that she's resisting, but her actions and the quickness of her agreements, same with Hawks, same with the dragons, does not match her words. It's an act for the advisor. It's an act for the Sky Tribe. I have to believe that, guys, because even though we haven't seen such subterfuge really yet in this series, it doesn't mean that the new arc couldn't go that direction. You know, I'd be very intrigued by it, and I'm holding out hope for this because this just seems too uncharacteristic. So, either way, so Yona retires to her room and stuff. Zeno and the others, they all go. The four dragons go to the throne room. Of course, Sun-won does show up, a bit of a comedic element there. Basically praises the advisor for his dealings with the Sen province, but then questions his hasty decision making. Because they said, do you know these dragons? Because, of course, Kye, Shin'a, Zeno, and jae-ha have all met before. In fact, jae-ha and Sun-won worked together for, a couple of chapters back with the Nadia incident. And then we have Zeno, of course, recognizing him and working a couple times. Well, not really working with, but you know what I mean, the whole Lily bodyguard thing, right? We had Kye and Shin'a and stuff. Kye and Shin'a, of course, showing up and going to murder Sun-won next time they saw him. But then with the whole breaking of the fort, but then they kind of backed down. They were just kind of like, I could never say it to Hawk, but he kind of reminded me of Yona sort of idea. It's a bit of a thing, right? So suffice it to say, they had these dealings, and they said, and the advisor's shocked, like, you know them? And it's like, well, knowing and not knowing, I mean, both would kind of be lies. I don't really know them, but I have met them, sort of. That's what he's trying to say here. But he's saying it in a really badass way, one of those things. Suffice to say, the remaining part of the chapter here goes on to talk about what Sun-won thinks. And here's where we see some conflict between Sun-won and his advisor, Kye-sook. Now we see that Sun-won is not very impressed by this. He believes it's a hasty decision. He thinks, of course, he's not one who really believes in any religion or fate or anything like that. And the advisor is playing the game, but Sun-won's like, no, get to the point. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish here by bringing them here? Because we see Kye-sook try to explain away a few things like, their powers are being sought by enemy nations. We had to protect them because they couldn't allow such power to fall in the hands of enemy nations that could be used against us. Plus, they have remarkable abilities on the battlefield. They follow Yona, hence they follow us. Blah, blah, blah. He goes through basically the motions explaining why they need this, that, and the other thing. And then he goes on the legend. Like, he's basically grasping at each part. He's like, well, they're worshipped by gods. And it's funny that he mentions only the fire tribe. But as, like Zeno has said before, belief in King Hiryu and the four dragons is strong in the fire tribe. But it doesn't mean that the rest of the tribes do not believe in the four dragons. So... And hail them as gods. So I would say that, like, specifically the fire tribe, no, I would say among all, even the most remote of the tribes in the in Koka Kingdom, belief in the four dragons of legend and belief in their godship, it runs high among some of the citizens. That would be the way that I would have worded it. But either way, to try to convince Sun-won better, though, Sun-won can see through this shit, right? He can see through it. Suffice it to say that he goes basically through it all. He goes through not really their adventures, but pretty much all the reasons as to why. And Sun-won's just like, yeah, that's fine. Get to the damn point. And here at the end of the chapter, at the last page, we see that Kye-sook wants to hold a festival, and this kind of shocks Sun-won a bit. It's a festival where they're going to bring about the four dragons should reside in Hiryu Castle. And remember, Zeno's been through this before. Zeno's already been through this, so I want his insight here, but he's been through this before. I want him to go down to the shrine, by the way. I really want Zeno to go down to the shrine and just something. Give us some more exposition, Zeno. Give us something. Lay down, look at it, look at the, his pendant in his ear and stuff, and watch it glow or something, like a fire emblem or something, and just be kind of like, huh. Or say a couple lines of dialogue or something. Have either Sun-won or Yona or somebody over here. That'd be really cool. Either way, because remember, Zeno belongs there more than anybody else. This is Zeno's home first. He was the leader of the Sky Tribe at a time. He was the leader of the capital. This was his home. He was the priest there for years, for decades. So, that being said, I'd love to see him enter the shrine and be like, you shouldn't be here. He's like, 2,000 years ago I was here, and I actually, this wall, I built, see this wall? I punched a hole in this wall one time, sort of idea. But either way, I really just enjoy the fact that this is all going to come to a head, and apparently we're going to get a bit of a tournament arc. As I said, I got a little sidetracked, but pretty much they're going to hold a festival celebrating the return of the Grand Four Dragons along with the long-lost Princess Yona, sort of idea. Make a spectacle out of it. Try to squash the ever-growing rumor, as I said, about the truth. Try to squash that by having the dragons and Yona present themselves on the side, sitting side by side with the advisor, with the king, with the other tribes, with the Sky Tribe. Then to the citizenship, they would all just, yeah, all right, let's do this, clearly those were just rumors, and that's why all these information brokers are clearly being paid by Advisor Kye-sook, but they're all being paid to spread the separate rumor that the Sen province is to blame for everything. That being said, there is the slight thing that they're going to showcase them in the martial arts tournament. Now, will they allow Hawk to participate? That'll be very interesting, because Hawk is basically a hostage almost. Not really a hostage, because who's going to stop him, but I just don't like this. I don't like the situation they're being put themselves into. Are we going to finally have, is Moondog going to be there? Are we going to gather all the tribes? Because this is as he said, this is the martial arts tournament where all the tribes gather. It just so happens to be this time, but he's going to hold it. Even during King Ill's reign, he allowed the martial arts tournament of the tribes. So we're basically going to get everyone finally all together by the sounds of it. We are going to get, the Earth Tribe, the Water Tribe, the Fire Tribe, the Sky Tribe. We're going to get them all together, all the main characters, all the main cast. We're going to have everybody in the same place, and that's when shit's going to go down. I'm curious to see this tournament arc. People are saying it's going to be one. I doubt it's going to be to the extent of other, like what a shonen tournament arc is, where we see quite a few matchups. It's not going to be anything like an Ultimate Muscle Bracket, a Hunter x Hunter, a Naruto. It's very unlikely to have a tournament arc to that level or scale. We'll probably see a few matches and stuff, and but it'll be all about the story in the background of the tournament, the subterfuge. That's what I'm banking on and hoping on. So that's pretty much the end of the chapter, ladies and gentlemen. What did you guys think of this chapter? Because as I said before, if this is really their character, then I feel like no, something's up. Something's up. I can't believe that it's too much of a quick turn. Like, because we saw the characters act themselves the chapter just before. Now, as I said before, the dialogue meets their characters, their actions do not. Something else is going on. Whether they're there to collect intel, whether they have a plan. I have to believe it, because Hawk wouldn't back down this quickly. Yona wouldn't back down this quickly. jae-ha and the other dragons shouldn't back down this quickly. They would be putting way, way, way too much faith in Kye-sook's word. Literally the one who planned the assassination, and basically their mortal enemy, almost, if not greater than Suwon, is this guy. Are they really going to trust his word that Hawk will be alright, they won't try to use him, Yona will be safe, the dragons will be safe, Yona will be safe with no protection. Remember, Yona's off on her own. Nobody there. No Hawk, no Yona, no 4 dragons, nobody. Not even like Mundok or somebody like that, right? Nobody there on her side, as far as we know. So, I'm very curious. I'm curious of this. 179 seems to be a bit of a turning point into the next arc. This is like the transition point into the next arc. So I think 180, I'm looking more forward to, maybe not 180. 180 should be a pretty good chapter, but I'm looking forward to the couple of chapters after. Like a build-up of 179 here is good. 180 will be another build-up. And probably it'll be about 181, 182 that stuff will really start happening and will be, that excitement feeling. So I'm looking forward to the next few chapters, see where the hype is going to be built, see what the Kye-sook's real intentions are and all this stuff. And, of course, what is the, Darkness Dragon and the Happy Hungry Bunch? What are they actually planning? What are they doing? So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's a long review, but it's a long chapter, a lot to talk about. That being said, and I'm sorry once again for the lateness of the review and all that stuff, but that's the end of the review. This has been Griever with your Behind the Bar reviews for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn, chapter 179. Like, comment, and subscribe. As always, it's always very much appreciated. And don't forget to also hit that bell notification. I don't say that enough, but hit that notification so you're always updated for when I either stream. I've started getting into streaming a little bit, and whenever I upload a video and all that fun jazz, just so you guys are always caught up to date the moment I upload, because my schedule is all over the map. Sometimes a video comes out at 2 in the morning, sometimes it's 2 in the afternoon. So just so you guys don't ever miss a video, make sure to click that bell notification. That being said, this has been Griever. Drink responsibly as always, and we'll see you back here next time.